All right, y'all, let's do a final reflection on the mushroom trip and see what we can learn from this as a big picture. And we have somebody coming back, so we're going to have to kind of look backwards at things to see where we are in the proper position, okay? There's three quesos basically in the story. There's the one that hasn't come, the one that's been prepared, and the one that we went and got. Okay, and I'm going to break these down a little bit. And yes, I understand this sounds crazy, but the people out there, your teachers, your pastors, your government, the rulers of darkness, they program you from an early age in all sorts and shapes and sizes to make you not understand this world and the magical place that you live in, and to make you view people like me that understand things that you don't understand, to call me crazy, to discredit me so you never understand these things, okay? So it's your choice to test these things. And I ask all of you to test this, all right? So I'm not the one with the problem, okay? So the queso. There's the vision of the queso. Everybody knows what that queso dip is. And however, there's varieties of queso. Now the queso that everybody envisions, all right, that's to come. All right. Now, the queso that's playing out now is the one in Israel, and this is where you have, it's the queso I told you, but it's a little bit of a different recipe, okay, because it's getting so close. Now, the Ukraine and Russia, okay, that was the queso that we had at the restaurant when the day was over, all right? We went, my wife, she ordered the queso fundido, all right? There's no fun in this queso because it's not even queso. It's chorizo, Mexican sausage, and it's covered with the cheese. All right, and it's served on the hot plate and all those. So this is the Red Russia and the Ukraine. And this is that first cheese board. All right, and we saw the reflections there. And I pointed these out back then from the original Critical Race 2020 vision and stuff, okay? So then that's the Mexican restaurant we went out to, all right? And it still wasn't the queso I was looking for. The queso I was looking for, the one I envisioned, and the one my wife understood the vision on and tried to make or whatever, that's still to come. That's the one in America. That's the one at the border, on the border, for the chips and salsa being served, okay? And Texas, known for that Mexican food, and it's the home of that frozen margarita. That frozen is coming with the Kamala, and if she gets the dark son Obama to back her up, or his wife Michelle, or however it's all going to work, or Oprah or Kanye, we'll see how they work the picture, okay? But the point is, the end result, the first queso, still has not happened. That's the America quesadilla. All right? The queso my wife made, the one with a grainy sauce, the one with a little bit too much of this or too much of that, you could eat a few bites of it, and then the flavorings that were off would kind of offset to where you may not want to eat it anymore, and then you might go back a little bit later and take a bite or whatever, all right? So it's edible, it's just not what you want, okay? So this is kind of that war going over in Jerusalem now that's signing up, and Kim Jong-un, the little rocket man, is giving the rockets to Hamas. He's had the 5,000 rockets go over there to Israel, or plus now, but I've seen a possible vision where a lot of cities around America are all bombed around the same time frame, or like this weekend, that weekend, and then the final third weekend or whatever, like Friday, next Friday, Friday after next, those kinds of things. Either way, this can be the Hamas ones, rockets can be the grainy cheese that my wife made, and then the ones where the 5,000 rockets hit America at once is coming up for that queso that I'm expecting on the border. Okay? I need to redo on the border post that got taken down long ago. I think it got taken down. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm going to redo it. But on the border restaurant ties to these things coming up. So the Spirit works through everything. And there's a spirit of the world around you that controls you. And there's a spirit of God that says we can do all things and test all things and whatever, okay? So, either way, multiple things going on here. The cheese and the queso fundido, that's Russia and Ukraine. The cheese my wife made with the different ingredients, kind of fucked up or whatever. That is the middle one. That's the Israel one now. That's the ham being served. You're in Octo 8. All right. Justin Timberlake is back in the news. He was in the news a lot back when the trumpets was sounding in 2021 during the live Super Bowl time frame. And that connects to the live game now. But Justin Timberlake, he's tied to this because he's the just 10, the 10 for the begotten for December on one aspect, and then September or November is the 9th month in the Roman calendar, and that's the timber for the tree being chopped down by the cherry tree, and that cherry tree is tied to the high tree sun for Biden fruit, and the cherry is tied to Kamala and the primary and the virgin and all those little things, okay? So the queso I'm envisioning or whatever, and my wife envisions, and that's all coming. All right. And when we're going to the restaurant, my daughter Ruby, the red bee, she said something that the candy has metal in it. All right. This is the met-il, or the metal with the swords, or we'll see how this reflection works. But the met-il and the candy and such takes me back to the 80s when I was a child. We had the scare tactics, and these things are going to play a role in the future, okay? But we had the scare tactics of razor blades, the raise here blade put into the candy, or we had the invisible enemy, and then treatment with a needle, the tricking treatment or whatever. People could be putting stuff into there like that. And then we've been shown things where the tattoos in the 80s or whatever, they used to have that scare tactic that some of the tattoos might have LSD on them, and then LSD can seep through your skin and all this other stuff, right? Some of those things might play a role. They could even put drops of acid in the water and give everybody like a mild trip during this psilocybin effect or whatever, right? That would be later on during the acid effect or whatever, but either way, that doesn't matter. The point is, this Halloween season, that's the so-called birth of Satan, and we are seeing things unfold. And this October we had the Friday the 13th. Today is Friday the 13th on 10/20, 13th day of the war. And all these things are stacking up, okay? And then tomorrow, on the reflection, since Octo is the 8th month in the Roman calendar, is 10/21. Well, it's 8/21, which would be the backwards of the 1/28 when Trump did the peace deal on 1/28/2020. All right, and then he did his trial on 10/2, which is the 8/2. which is the 28 backwards. So, and then today is Kamala's birthday, and she turns 59, and that's the 45 on the times. All right, and we have the time for the watch. Either way, y'all, queso's being served, and it's going to be on the border, per se, and that restaurant is coming, and everybody's going to run to that restaurant where the AC's keeping you cool, that Antichrist. All right, folks, so are you going to sit at that booth in the restaurant? Or are you going to get sit in that bar for the old rump, for the ale? Or you can get a table. Okay? Or you can just get it to go. Just get it to go. There's 4 options. 4 options for the 4 heads. You might just have to get it to go. All right? Eat it on the road. Eat 10 on the road. The ETA is in. Anyways, y'all. Never got that queso. That was one more thing. So trips. Trips have good and bad sides or whatever. So the queso, not getting the queso or whatever, that was like the bad part of the trip. I'll take that any time of the day. Okay? It's better than the bad queso that people are going to be getting down there. All right? You got to get it one way, shape, or form. So, that's why if you've had experience with these things, you go out in public or whatever, you know what is out there, and you may choose to stay home or whatever because you don't want to go and get in a mess up situation and call things to you or whatever because anyways, it just seems to open up doors in a way. So it makes the, I guess, algorithm of the world exposed. So you step outside of it and you examine it from another viewpoint, okay? And you can kind of see the spiritual undertones of how normal everyday life has a stressful frequency tied to it that affects us in a way that we aren't aware of. And the only way we become aware of these frequencies that are hidden in the world is to take these things that show us the invisible, because as Jesus said, how can I explain the heavenly things when you can't even understand the earthly things? You can't even understand the rulers of darkness. You can't even understand your simple outward Jew, Old Testament, Moses, inward Jew, New Testament, Paul, and there's Jesus, who went against both. Okay? It's very simple. You shall find it. They will find it after they are lost and broken, and they will realize they are left behind, and they will realize they took that mark, and it might do something to them, or it might just be a placebo. We'll see what the mind over matter does to themselves, okay? The mind over matter will tell us where they've been given, where their heart is. So this is where that trick and treat comes in, where your inner desires are coming out right now, and they're manifesting and whatever. But pastors, they're all going to be wrong. It's pastors, Pharisees, churches, synagogues. Jesus said they were all wrong. Okay?